James Lennis, welcome to the tasting table. I do appreciate it. These wines are next. We have Bells Up, we have a Pinot Blanc, and 2 Pinot Noirs. Stay tuned, and I'll give you my thoughts and perspectives and point scores on each of these wines. Stay tuned. Now, I have reviewed this producer before. This is a Willamette Valley producer. They have Pinot Noir, Rosé Pinot Noir, Pinot Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc, Syrah, and Cabernet Sauvignon. So the musical notation here is Bells Up. That's an actual musical notation of a French horn. And Dave and Sarah Spector are the owners. Dave Spector is a French horn player, and hence he brings that musicality to his labels. You don't find a lot of American producers. When I think of Pinot Blanc, I automatically go to Alsace. And that's because a lot of it does come from that region. And perhaps maybe the majority of Pinot Blanc that's found in the world today does come from Alsace. You do find some in Italy, United States, Australia, and so forth. But to me, it's a treasure. So first is this wine. I think this is one where it's my definitive go-to oyster wine. And if I can't have a sparkling wine, and preferably Blanc de Blanc, this is a lovely wine to be tasted with seafood. Now here's a front label right here. This is a $32 suggested retail price point. So additional points to this wine, I'm going to point out 50% of this is coming from the vineyard site, Plum Hill Vineyard, as well as Elkhorn Ridge Vineyard, 50%. Now this is aged surly for 6 months, 12.9% ABV. And to me, I think it's a really good point, because I do taste some, say, California Pinot Blancs, and there's not a lot of them, by the way, and they have a much higher alcohol point. And to me, I think my homage goes back to Alsace. They have a lower alcohol point, ABV, and to me, that's the best way to enjoy this wine. Now here we go with the characterization of this wine. So nose on this is moistened stones, autumnal white fruit of apples and pears, as well as a hint of white floral. Next is the palate characterization. Palate is very nicely dry and yet full of character. Boss pear notes, hint of spice, and floral notation. This wine is 92 points out of 100 points. So now we have the Titan Pinot Noir, and what I very much enjoy about Oregon wines is that they taste like Oregon Pinot Noir, and I would never mistake this, in my opinion, for I'm not going to even say a specific California region, but many say California Pinot Noirs can have a very certain characterization, and I think colorization. So when I get a wine like this, I know it's not a Burgundy wine, but I'm definitely getting that this is an Oregon wine. It's an Oregonian wine, and I think it's hauntingly beautiful and gorgeous. So let me show you the label up close so you can take a reference point here. And so Titan, now this is named after Gustav Mahler's Symphony in D major. Back label for you to look at here. Spends 12 months and 36.8% new French oak. And the price point on this is $44. Now this is a composition of 2 clones, 115 and 777, 19-year-old vines. So be sure to serve this in a Burgundy glass. You're going to enjoy the experience. Your palate's going to thank you for doing so. And if you have a smaller wine glass, I think you might miss some characterization. So I definitely, when I'm at a wine event, I will look and seek out a better wine glass, especially from the standard issue. If it's a free wine glass, I really don't want it. I definitely will seek out the best, especially if it's at a restaurant venue. I will ask for the better wine glasses, and I usually get them. Not all the time, but I often do. So here we go with this wine. Crushed red candy notes, which I find that haunting and beautiful, as well as violets, black cherries, freshly sanded wood, as well as suede notes. Excellent. Next, the palate characterization. Sublime, beautiful. This wine is giving notes of Bing cherry, mountain strawberry, hint of clove, and savory undertones, and finishing off with red flowers. This wine is 94 points out of 100 points. And next we're going to go on to the Jupiter wine. Now here goes this one here, Jupiter Pinot Noir. And these actually wines taste different from each other, as they should, right? They're not going to be exactly the same. Now this is Chehalem mountain fruit, different than this wine here, which is Willamette Valley. Here is the front label, Jupiter 2020 vintage. Back label for you to look at here. And this is a $48 price point. This is a smaller case production. So it's 94 cases, 74 cases for the Titan, and I believe 32 cases for the Pinot Blanc. Now 50% of this is Pommard, and the other 50% is going to be 667. It's a 13.5% ABV, and again, I think that's a fantastic ABV because, again, you don't see that. And in fact, I don't think I gave the ABV on the Titan. Now this ABV here is going to be 13.2%. Now back to the Jupiter wine. Now this is named after or an homage to, say, Gustav Holst's The Planets, as well as Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's Symphony 41. Gorgeous nose here. This to me is just so mouth watering, and I want something like nice Italian charcuterie. I think would go quite well with this wine, as well as hard cheeses. Now let me talk about the characterization on this wine. Now, fantastic nose of purple flowers, lavender, graphite. I love that mineral note, as well as freshly grounded spices. Next is the palate characterization. So blue and black fruit, savory tones, as well as sage and purple flowers. This wine is 94 points out of 100 points. More information on this producer down below, questions and comments you could list there. And again, the videos of previous Bells Up wines that I reviewed in the past will be right up here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. So between videos, you'll find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Now be sure to share this video with someone who loves and appreciates Oregon wines, or somebody who you think would be receptive to enjoying these wines. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. Santé.